Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bronco Nation Live. I'm David from the Bronco Nation, and today we're talking about model year 22 Bronco. Talking about how you order a model year 22 Bronco, for those of you who are held over from 21, what you need to do now, and some of the changes that came to the second year of the sixth generation of Bronco. So we're also going to be having a little tour of a model year 22. So make sure you stick around for that as well. So before we go any further, though, we need to introduce you to who we've got on the call. So with us today, we have Jordan T. Parker up there, who you've probably seen in a lot of our videos, Jordan from Bronco Nation. Then we have Laura, who you have probably, if you've been following Bronco Nation, you've probably read a few of her articles. She takes care of a lot of that stuff in our blog and elsewhere on the website. And then we have with us from TC Customs, Mr. Mitchell Watts. Thank you for joining us. And then from Team Bronco, we have Tim and Esteban, again, to help us sort through some of these things on model year 22 Bronco. Thanks, guys, for joining us.
Thanks for having us back.
Absolutely.
Yeah, sure thing. So first thing we want to jump into is model year 22 ordering. And Laura's going to take us through that. So, Laura, why don't you take us away?
Sure. Thanks, David. So we're going to go through the timeline as it stands right now. I'm going to move quickly because this information is available on bronconation.com. It's on Ford.com in the FAQs, and you can answer and ask any questions. We'll be answering. You can ask questions at the end when we get past some of these details. So today we have the order banks opened. And build and price was updated, and dealers can place orders for converted order holders. On October 15th, we have the online orders opening to non-converted reservation holders. October 28th, we have the MY22 scheduling beginning. In December of this year, we will start the 22 production, and in Q1 of 22, the MY22 deliveries begin, and Ford will announce more on the special editions. So then moving into the conversion process, I just want to make sure you know what category you fall into. If you are a new customer, you are someone who has never placed a reservation or an order in MY21. And if you're going to order, we encourage you to reach out directly to your dealer, or you can use the Ford.com tool, the build and price, on October 15th, which will send your dealer your information. If you placed an order in MY21, if you placed a reservation in MY21, but you never converted, you'll work with your dealer to convert your order. And then if you placed an order for MY21, it was not scheduled, and you don't want to make any changes, you'll confirm your order with your dealer, and it will make it eligible for scheduling. And then finally, if you've converted your order if you placed an order for MY21, it was not scheduled, and you want to make changes, you are a converted order holder, you will need to update and confirm your order with your dealer. So the gist of it all is everyone without a VIN today does need to update or confirm their order. So let's flip back to David.
Yep, we're right here. So for those people who are in those latter categories, like, they definitely have to go through, actually talk to their team and, set up what they're going to be doing next there, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So just adding on, because some of the Bronco Nation members might be asking, why am I needing to do this again after going through it with 21? So first and foremost, there's new colors and options that we're excited to share with you all. Frankly, some of them, like the manual transmission with Sasquatch, was expedited based on all of your feedback. So we want to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to go in and see what some of those new features are. Build and price launched this morning. So we encourage you guys to go in and explore and see what all is new. But most importantly, we need you guys to go in and confirm those orders with your selected dealer and ultimately make it eligible for scheduling, which will begin for the 22 model year. Scheduling will begin for the 22 model year at the end of this month for that December production start that Laura mentioned earlier. So we appreciate that it is an added step, and we hope that you guys will be excited for some of the new options and colors that are available for 22.
Yeah, I mean, what we've seen throughout the whole process is, your communication with your dealer is super key across this whole process of going from I love Bronco to actually having one in your driveway. Make sure you're keeping in tight with your dealer so that you can finally get there. Now, obviously, with a change of model year also comes changing of prices. So let's talk about that for a second.
Absolutely. Do you want me to take this one?
Yeah, go aheed and take that, Mitch,
Okay.
as a dealer
All right.
yourself.
Absolutely. Well, first off, thank you, Bronco Nation, for having me. Thank you, Ford, for joining us as well. Just to let you guys know a little bit more about me, if you guys are new to me, we are a 2-time Ford dealership in the state of Alabama. We also have custom department, but we also have a YouTube channel called Town and Country TV. I tell you that because we use that as an opportunity for customers to use that as a resource, just in case they need a little bit of extra help, even if they don't ever buy a Bronco from us. But with that being said, I'm also the one that is handling, me and my business partner handle every one of our Bronco orders. So I just wanted to say that to show you that we actually do know that we're talking about. And a couple of things that I would recommend. Let's first off, let's talk about the price protection. So I've got the price protection chart here. So depending on what you had ordered, and I don't remember the specific dates, but there was a cutoff period where you had to have either a reservation or an order placed by a specific date. And if you did, then I think the date was on October 1. They took a snapshot of whatever vehicle you had, and whatever that vehicle you had in the order bank or as a reservation would be the level of price protection that you get. Meaning that if you ordered a base model 2-door, when you take possession of your Bronco, eventually you would end up with an $800 price protection, and that comes to you in the form of a certificate at the time of delivery. Now, I'm going to lean on Ford that if I'm misspeaking on any of this, please cut me off and correct me. But that is my understanding of how this works. And so, for instance, if you ordered a 4-door Wildtrak, there would be a $695 price protection, once again, in the form of a certificate. And if you don't know what a certificate is, it's basically like a very specific rebate that goes to you specifically. And so that is my understanding of that price protection. And so as you're going through that build and price and looking at the new options and the new colors, we've actually had quite a few people today really confused. They said, why did all the prices go up? I've got price protection. Yes, what you see on Ford.com is going to be different than what you'll actually take delivery of, because once again, the real corrected 2022 price is going to show online, and then you'll get it in the form of a rebate later on. So that Ford didn't cut me off, so I guess I said that right.
The only thing, Mitch, the date is March 19th.
March 19th was the cut. You had to have a reservation or an order by that day. And then I think you guys took a snapshot on October 1 for what trim level. Did I dream that?
No, that's right. Yeah. So before
Okay.
the order banks closed, that's when we kind of took a snapshot of what everyone had on order.
Okay, good. So the cutoff, you had to have a reservation or an order by March 19th. So thank you, Esteban. I appreciate that. And so while we're kind of on the topic of pricing, I do want to mention kind of some best practices. So every dealership is different. Ford Motor Company does not dictate pricing to the dealers. The dealers are an independent franchise. As a partner of our dealership, we can charge whatever we want to as far as the pricing is concerned. Our dealership has come out to say that we're honoring MSRP pricing on every single vehicle, every single Bronco that we sell, period, into paragraph. But the reason I bring that up is because you, as a customer ordering your Bronco, as you're going through that 2022, and as you're sitting down with your dealer or doing it over the phone or however you do it, go ahead and have the conversation about price up front. So that way there's no surprises, no gotchas and things like that. And I just as common sense or just best practices, I would also recommend whatever you do decide between you and your dealer, as far as a price is concerned, get it in writing, get a signed purchase agreement. What we're doing is just being very transparent. We send a DocuSign of the actual building price, or not the building price, but the build sheet inside of Webdo, the web-based dealer ordering system, and it clearly states what the price is on that one. So that way we have one page, one document that shows the options, that shows what the customer is going to pay when the vehicle shows up. And that is something that I would recommend that you guys do as well, because nobody wants a surprise. And, what do they say? That if it's not in writing, it's worth the paper that it's written on. So that would be my best recommendation. Anything else, Bronco Nation or Ford, that I need to cover as far as pricing? Did I didn't any, I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything, or do I need to go over the price protection anymore?
One thing I am seeing in the chat here is, and I think it's probably relates to the trim. If people switch their trims, is that going to, are they going to lose their price protection?
That is a great question. So that is the reason I mentioned that October 1 snapshot date, because if you, on October 1, you had a Badlands 4-door in the system, you get an $825 rebate or certificate. If you decide to take delivery of a base model, you still get that $825. So basically, and that's my understanding. Once again, Ford, please correct me if I'm wrong, but you get the price protection from what you had as far as the snapshot back on October 1. So if you decide to go with a less expensive vehicle later on, it actually kind of works a little bit in your favor, but it's based on the amount is based on what you had at the snapshot, not what you take delivery of. Is that right?
Yeah, that's
okay.
That's right.
Okay.
The reason I'm pausing is because I'm double checking exactly what that October date is right before the 21 order banks closed that we took the snapshot on. I'm not 100% certain it's October 1, but it's right in that time frame.
Okay. So
yeah,
I'll leave that as a disclosure or a disclaimer.
Yeah. And then the other thing I would just add on to is, I've gotten a lot of questions today about how the price protection works as far as what it covers, and how we have some standard equipment changing between series. So that price protection amount is to cover any change of standard equipment. For example, the bumpers changing on Badlands or Black Diamond, or the hardtop changing on 4-door Wildtrak, as well as any incremental pricing that just happened from 21 to 22 on the series itself. So
Absolutely.
if you have a Black Diamond on order and you like the new bumper that we introduced, and you don't want to go to the modular heavy duty Ford Performance bumper, you can keep that bumper and then you can pocket the price protection difference. That's kind of how that would work.
That's awesome. That's good information. The next thing I wanted to cover, if you guys will allow me, is just talking about the conversion process. And just as customers, because I get a chance to speak with so many customers, is what does that conversion process look like? And every dealership is different. Everybody's process is a little bit different. But what we are doing at our dealership is we are going through and following up with our customers. Is we have a lot of reservations, so we're doing everything we can. But we are going through and talking to our customers based on the reservation timestamp. So the very first person, the person who's been waiting the longest, we're going to give them our first attention, go through, update the order, and basically go down the list. But it's very important that you have your order submitted by, I believe it's October the 28th, because that is when my understanding is that they're going to start scheduling the 2022 Bronco. The reason I bring that up is because it really doesn't matter what order you get. If you don't get your order completed today on the opening date, that's not going to cause any delays. That the reservation timestamp is still what supersedes everything. It's not the order time, but the reservation timestamp. So I just wanted to say that, make sure you talk to your dealer, but don't worry if it's not on the very first or very second day that the order bank is open.
That's a really good point, Mitch. Just given the overall volume too, you can imagine some dealers, I'm sure their phones lit up today and throughout the week as we were getting closer to this milestone.
Yep. It's a wonderful blessing to have. I wish I could knock them all out in one day, but just have patience with your dealer, especially if you're working with a larger dealership like we are.
All right. Well,
go ahead.
Yeah. Thanks for taking.
I was just going to say that's all I've got. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thanks for taking us through that. Before we go on, I want to kick it back to Jordan and see if there are any more questions. that are
Not
coming through?
regarding this specific. Yeah, I mean, there are. And if you guys are in the chat and have questions, make sure you're leaving them in the super chat on the right-hand side of your screen. We'll get to more of the broad questions at the end, but I kind of want to make sure we're keeping this in silos. So that's all the questions we have for price protection.
Okay, awesome. Well, from here, we are going to be moving on from the ordering process, what it looks like to get a model year 22 Bronco, to what is a model year 22 Bronco. So thankfully, I have Esteban sitting in a Bronco right now. And I don't know if Esteban, you want to talk a little bit about the Bronco you're in and that you brought to the show today.
Yeah, let's go through that while we still have some light out, and then we can talk about some other more broad 22 questions. All right, can you guys see it?
All right, yeah, you should be on.
All right, so we have can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, you're good.
All right. Okay, cool. So the factory was nice enough to let me borrow this for the day. This is a pre-production unit. We have a Wildtrak in eruption green here. It's got the Lux package on it, modular front bumper. But I think there are some unique features here for 22. Obviously, the color looks awesome, but there are a couple new things for 22 that I want to highlight. First and foremost, you can see the roof rack on the four-door Sasquatch. That was something that we heard a lot of customer demand for. It's now going to be available for 22. A little unique thing, the keypads will now be paint matched, so they're no longer molded in color there.
God bless.
So I know that was something that some people mentioned. Moving around back here, this is kind of the most exciting part. I have one of the first Broncos with the slide-out tailgate in it. So let's talk a little bit about the slide-out tailgate. Very seamless to use. There's a lever here, so it's locked in place right now. You pull the lever, that slides it out. We got a little cool Easter egg here to the Gen 1 Ford Bronco tailgate, how they kind of mimicked that design here on the slide-out tailgate. And that kind of gets back to why this part exists in the first place. When we were designing the Bronco, there was a lot of back and forth about, do we do a swing gate or do we do a tailgate for the rear of the vehicle? And we ended up going with a swing gate because it's very seamless with the spare tire mounted on the exterior of the vehicle. It's a one motion open, but we knew that people loved having a tailgate on their vehicle. And so that's how the slide out tailgate kind of came into existence. So it's very robust. It has a 600-pound weight rating on it. So you can definitely sit on it. You can stand on it to get up on the roof of the vehicle to, tie anything down you need to. And then some of the other questions we've gotten is, can you still get to the storage underneath? Yes, you can. This is a pre-production model, so this isn't completely ironed out yet, but you'll be able to lift up the load floor and you'll have access to that storage compartment, the jack and everything. It still has these really robust tie down rings integrated. And then another cool piece of it, which I know a lot of people have asked and commented about, is the fact that it increases the load floor surface in terms of height, which now makes it a lot smoother of a transition from the cargo floor to the seat back. So you can kind of see how much smoother that transition is between the two pieces of the vehicle there.
That looks.
So that's that. What was that, Jordan?
Really nice. That looks really nice. That's impressive.
Yep. There's a little Easter egg here. Probably should let you all find that on your own, but it's kind of neat. What else did I want to show you guys?
I do have a question about it, Esteban.
Yeah.
Is getting to your jack and your easy fuel spout and all that. When you have that installed, is do we kind of put it somewhere else, or is there anything that allows you to get at that storage that's under the cargo area?
Sorry, I think my internet cut out a little bit. You're asking, is there another way to get to it besides lifting the load floor?
Yeah.
No. I mean,
Okay.
the issue, like, the only way to get to it is by lifting the load floor.
Oh. Well, the fact that you can do that while it's still installed is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, I mean, it's kind of a simple but elegant solution, I think.
And then there wasn't an aesthetic change on the outside too for the mirrors and door handles, right?
On Wildtrak.
On Wildtrak. We lost it. But I think the door handles went from color matched to Mick on Wildtrak, and the painted gloss black mirror caps went to Mick as well. Is that correct, Tim? On Wildtrak only?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
We're back.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're back.
Sorry. Yeah, Jordan, they did go to molten color on the door handles and the mirror.
Okay. Were there any interior changes on Wildtrak for 22?
I do not believe so. There's the new floor mat options, which I'm sure a lot of people saw in the order guide. But those are just options. They're not necessarily changes.
And when will that tailgate be available for 22 model year? Is that job one or a little later down the line?
It's not job one. So good question. It is a late availability part for 21 that we're working through. That's why you don't see it on build and price right now.
Okay.
And why it's not orderable when you go to your dealer, it won't be orderable, but we're working to get that added as soon as possible.
Okay.
Will that be a dealer
just
installed
correction
option? Or is that a fact? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Is that a dealer installed option or is that a factory installed option?
The factory option.
Wow. That's awesome.
Tim, you were going to say?
I was just clarifying, Esteban, you said 21, late availability 22 model year.
Yeah, sorry. That is why we're here today.
And that's just available on the 4-door.
Correct. Yeah, it's just available on the 4-door.
Okay.
And Esteban, we're going to talk about the dealer installed options a little bit more in just a few minutes, but say somebody wanted that, what does that do for their MY22 order conversion? Will it hold up?
Yeah. Good question, Laura. So if you really want the slide out tailgate, do not place your order yet with your dealer. So you should hold off until it becomes an orderable option, and we'll make an announcement when that happens. And then once it is orderable, that's when you would go ahead and place the order.
Could you place your order but just 99 it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
That green looks good. I like that.
Yeah, it looks great in person. I really like it. It's my new favorite color.
There you go.
All right.
Hey, Laura, you brought up the 99 priority code. Is there a good understanding amongst the community on what the 99 is and what it means?
I think it'd be fair to go over it just a little bit more. I think a lot of people know that 99 means that your order will not be scheduled for production. But if you wanted to give any more details on that from your side, please do.
I mean, that is the key to it, right? Is it's a priority code that is used not just for Bronco, any Ford vehicle as they order, but it's a designation by the dealer to Ford scheduling system that this is not ready for scheduling. So I just want to make sure that you mentioned it. I wasn't sure the level of understanding from the community. So you hit it on the head.
The key on the slide out tailgate is it's not even an option right now in the dealer system. So if you do place an order and ask your dealer to 99 it, you'll need to make sure that when you go and have them take it off 99, make sure that they have added the slide out tailgate to your order.
One question regarding that, does the tailgate affect the onboard door storage at all?
It does. That's a great question, because you know how I showed how the heights are different, right? So we're taking up depth from our cargo area. So the doors no longer fit vertical. So the onboard door storage no longer functions when you have the slide out tailgate.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
It's a either or.
Maybe just one last point, Laura, on the 99s is as part of the whole conversion process and what group each customer is in that you started off by going through. So all of our orders that are sitting in the order bank for 22, Ford just went through over the last 5 days once we completed scheduling for 21 model year and did that order conversion. So all of your orders out there are sitting in the dealer's order bank as 22 in 99 status, waiting for you to work with them to either update and or confirm that it's still what you want. So just adding some additional details there. All of the orders currently are on 99 until they're touched.
Just had a good question regarding that. Does 99 ever expire? Or let's say someone wants Bronco Raptor coming summer 22. Is there a time frame in which 99 expires, or can they wait as long as their heart desires?
Yeah, 99 is the code that the scheduling system it'll skip over that order.
But it doesn't, that's not going to, automatically take it off one day.
No, it requires somebody to go in to edit the order in order for that 99 to come off.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. But I think, talking about the tailgate, it's a good time to talk about dealer installed options, factory options, and dealer channel accessories. So I don't know if you want to take that away, Laura.
Sure. Actually, I was going to have Esteban talk about that. But we just wanted to go through why the dealer installed options are no longer in the build-in price. So why don't we start with that?
Yeah. So there's kind of three bins. There are just, factory options, which Mitch was asking about the slide out tailgate. That's something that gets installed at Michigan Assembly Plant on the vehicle. There are DIO options, dealer installed options, and those are on build and price right now. And they're also visible in the order guide. And those are options that will show up on your window label. They kind of get rolled into your overall invoice for the vehicle, but they are not installed at the factory. They are installed at the dealership by your dealer. And the key thing there is twofold. One, it's on your Windows sticker. And the other piece is that the installation cost of the part is included in the MSRP that you see on build and price. So those are kind of those two bins. And then there are dealer channel options. And those are the ones that you do not see on build and price today. So these are all the options. When you get to the bottom of build and price and it gets to accessories, everything in the accessories section, those are the dealer channel options. And those are parts, you can still finance them with the purchase of your vehicle, but they will not show up on your window label. And the installation for those parts by your dealer is going to be an incremental cost for the customer. Because the idea there is you could also DIY install them on your own if you wanted as well. I don't know, Mitch, if you have any thoughts on when customers, if they want some dealer channel options, when they should talk to the dealer about those in the purchase process.
Absolutely. So there's a couple, because obviously TC Customs, that's kind of one of the big legs of our dealership, is we do a lot of custom work even outside of Bronco. But one of the things that we have noticed is, and I'll just kind of speak truthfully about what our process looks like. Once a Bronco has been scheduled for production, that's when it flags our internal system for us to call the customer and say, all right, now that you've got a VIN number, let's talk about accessories. Because I know, for instance, like if the customer wants the Ford accessories or the Ford Performance winch mount that goes on the front of the heavy duty modular front bumper, those might take a little bit longer to show up than, floor mats that weren't added to the vehicle from the factory, that is. So I always recommend the second you have a VIN number, go ahead and start having that conversation about what do you want to add as far as an accessory. Go ahead and get it ordered, especially with all of the supply chain issues that are going on around. It's probably a good idea to do that so that way you don't run into it. And it is pretty awesome. I've got a white 2021 Ford Bronco, and I loaded it down with some Ford accessories. One of my favorites is that Tuffy security cabinet, and it's fantastic. It really does make a really, really nice way to kind of make that Bronco your own. So I don't get paid to say that, but it is, even if you don't buy from us, you definitely need to look at that I think it's accessories.ford.com.
Yeah. One other point, Laura, is I know I mentioned that the accessories section is no longer on build and price. So it went from 21 to 22. We're going to bring it back online. It's just that we prioritize all the core vehicle stuff on build and price first, and then we get to adding the accessories section on later. So that's going to come back, and that's not to say you can't go browse the parts. As Mitch said, accessories.ford.com. There's a new website now on accessories.ford.com that you can go check out. That just got revamped this week, and there are other resources that I know are on Bronco Nation, like the catalog and the accessory list as well for customers to browse what's out there.
If I can also say one last thing about that, because the biggest confusion we had with the 21 model, even once the accessories were showing on the build and price, it was very confusing for a customer that they would print the build and price and say, hey, order it this way. And then we would provide the actual order from Ford system, and it didn't have those accessories on there. So I kind of want to take this as an opportunity to remind you that even if the accessory is on the build and price, it's not going to show up on the actual order from Ford for these accessories that we're talking about, those dealer installed accessories.
Yeah, that's that key difference on the DIO items being on the window label versus not. That's why
right.
That happens.
That's right.
Okay, thanks guys for clarifying that. We had we already went over the DIO. We talked briefly about the new colors. We do know some colors were removed. One of the last things that has been introduced for MY22, and this was introduced earlier in the year, so a little bit older news, but the manual Sasquatch package. Esteban, do you want to just run down quickly the availability on base and what that looks like with the manual and the auto and some of the key points surrounding that?
Yeah, so there are some questions around whether manual Sasquatch will be available on base. It is available on 2-door base. It is not available on 4-door base. There was some confusion about how we wrote one of the customer emails on that, so apologies for the confusion there. The reason being that you can't get a manual on a 4-door base in general. A lot of people want to know why that is. It has to do with the drive line and the gearing. So the smaller tires, as well as the fewer amount of gear ratios in the manual transmission versus the auto, lead to a situation where we can't offer that combo. So that's why on base you get the automatic trans forced. So, but manual Sasquatch will be available on 2-door base, Big Bend, Black Diamond, and Badlands. And we're very excited to bring that obviously to market. We heard the resounding customer request for that. So we're very excited that we can make that happen for 22 and hope a lot of people order it.
Awesome. Jordan, where are we at on the saltiness scale in the chat over there?
It's getting up there. It's getting up there.
Yeah.
Before we get into that, let's tee up some good news, David. Let's hear something positive.
What about special editions?
You guys made some news today on that.
Yeah. What's this Everglades I keep hearing about?
Right. So we did, obviously we had the Raptor news. I think that was 2 weeks ago now, 1 week ago. I can't remember. Super excited to announce the Raptor's coming for this model year. And then today we just talked about our Everglades special edition that's coming for the 22 model year. So 2 really awesome special editions that'll be available. Everglades is got some cool factory accessories bolted onto it. So that winch that Mitch was talking about will come from the factory on that vehicle. And there will also be a factory snorkel that will be installed on that vehicle. So 2 really cool accessories that you'll be able to get right off the factory floor. We will have more to announce on, pricing, more specifications, like basically a full blown, they'll go on build and price, and dealers will be able to see the order guides and everything. So that's coming shortly here in the next calendar year. But we realized, some people want all the details immediately. Unfortunately, we can't provide those right up front today, but we did want to make sure that, to keep everyone who waited until the 22 model year excited, we wanted to let you know that there were these special editions coming. And if you do want to wait, they will be produced in limited quantities. But we want to make sure that people don't place their order immediately and then get upset because we didn't tell them that this stuff was coming down the line. So we're trying to be transparent and let people make informed decisions with regards to these special editions that are coming.
So is the best way to get one of those is to 99 your order and just wait until you guys release more information on those?
Yeah, it'd be kind of a similar process to the slide out tailgate. Because you wouldn't want, if you confirm your order and take it off 99, you could get pulled before those are open for ordering.
Okay.
I just add, Jordan, that I just add that make sure your dealer knows that that's something that you're interested in. Seems like an obvious thing, but as we go forward, make sure that they're aware that you're interested in X or Y, because to Esteban's point, they will be in limited quantities.
One more special edition question, right, David?
We gotta ask.
Have to ask.
Yeah, Heritage Edition. There was some scuttlebutt about it earlier in the year. We gotta ask about Heritage Edition and where it sits in 22.
Or if it sits in 22.
If it sits in 20.
Yeah, unfortunately, we can't talk about any additional future product right now. So the what we've announced for special editions is what we're announcing at the moment.
Understood. What else we got, Jordan?
Anything on painted tops?
No new news on painted tops. That's still slated for 23 model year.
Okay. For
the modular painted hardtop. Yep.
Okay. Now we're going to dive into some of the salty questions because we're going to get roasted alive in this chat here if I don't. So I'll phrase them as nicely as I can, but these are just two of the louder ones. When it comes to delivering, is Ford still committed to delivering all reservations before delivering stock, pending commodity availability?
That's funny. You want me to take that, or you want to take it?
Go ahead, Tim.
So we absolutely are still committed to delivering on our reservations. They still very much are part of the overall scheduling system. But Jordan, you pointed out the key variable there around commodities. And as we've seen with the 21 model year and the availability of hard tops versus the overall demand, and then the availability of soft tops versus the overall demand, that does and has played a key role. But a key fact that we can share with you to maybe instill some confidence is, as we look back at our 21 model year numbers and what was scheduled and who were the makeup of the customers, it was, I think, 86% of our hard tops that are either built and or scheduled to be built for the 21 model year are within the first 48-hour reservation. So optically, it may not feel that way based on what we hear and see. But I think that hopefully gives some confidence that reservation absolutely does play an important role, albeit there are some other factors at play.
Now, speaking of those, are there still, I mean, I'm sure there are still commodity constraints. I know a few months ago, if you switch to a soft top from a hard top, it could significantly improve your build date. Is that still the case? Are you still going to save weeks or months if you switch to a hard top or switch to a 2.3 from a 2.7, or is that situation flexed at all?
So yes, soft top remains the number one way to get your Bronco sooner. We've been fairly consistent there, and that'll remain in place for 22. So those looking to try to expedite delivery, that is by far the best way to do so. I will say as we go into 22, we are going to continue to see improvements in the overall commodity mixes based on, frankly, investments that were made over 12 months ago as we started to see the demand come in. Things take time in manufacturing and automotive, and some of those commodity increases are going to start to pay dividends as we head into 22 here.
Now, we've also had a ton of questions about allocations, and I think, Laura, you have more specific question on that.
That's definitely something that I'm seeing in the news and the questions that we have coming up on the articles that I've been posting and in the forums. Tim, do you want to speak to some of those concerns with dealer allocations, and can you explain any more about how that's looking for the MY22?
Yeah, sure. Happy to. So let me start off by saying we were so excited for heading into the 22 because we get a full 12 months of production, which is massive when it comes just to overall throughput. So as we go into 22, we get the benefit of a full 12 months of production versus 21, which was closer to a half a year. I'd say overall, the allocation formula, it aims to treat all dealers fairly and ultimately comply with state laws, which is an important part of the business. The numbers of orders, i.e. reservations that each dealer has, it does remain a key component of the overall allocation formula for 22.
So the next question goes along with that. And if someone is at a dealer right now and they're not satisfied with the allocation level their dealership is at, are you guys allowing dealer changes?
Or not satisfied with their dealer in general, regardless of allocation.
Start that again, Jordan, it cut off.
Or just issues with your dealer in general, because we have seen those regardless of allocation.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, guys, we are committed to trying to ensure that each of you have a great experience. And if for whatever reason that's not happening at your selected dealer, we encourage you to reach out to the Bronco support team so that we can try to assist. Just a proof point on that, and we talked about it earlier, the whole price protection was something, frankly, we started talking about many months ago, recognizing that we were going to have customers carry over from 21 to 22 based on just overall demand. And, while industry pricing is a norm within automotive, it was something that we knew we needed to try to accomplish for everyone to try to, again, optimize the overall experience for each of you. So we hope that, you guys are seeing and appreciating it. But at the end of the day, if for whatever reason you guys aren't happy with your experience, please reach out and we'll try to do what we can to support.
All right. Anything else on that, Laura?
Oh, no, I was just going to ask if Jordan's seen any more questions in the chat that we can pull from that. If not, David, let's go back to you.
One more. We'll throw an extra thing on there, and you guys may not have a comment on that or may not be able to speak to it, but people are wondering, how does the reservation priority fit into allocations, if at all, for model year 22 versus 21? And the priority in which that kind of stacks up in.
Yep. So it is still a key component, as I mentioned, as one of the variables within the allocation formula is based on 21 allocation. So it is still a key part of the overall 22 model year formula.
And I think an important thing to note for those in the chat is like the formula for allocation goes way beyond my comprehension, and I think many of us. So I know it may seem simple, and I know it's frustrating for you as a customer, but there's a lot more that goes into it than meets the eye, at least from what I can tell, or what I would assume.
Yeah. Well, thank y'all so much for being a part of this. Thank you, Tim and Esteban. We're going to give you a chance to go ahead and hop off there. The team's going to stay on for a little bit to discuss a few more things about model year 22 and all of that. But thank y'all so much for taking some time to be with us today and to answer some of these questions, even the tough ones. Thank you.
Yep.
Absolutely.
You bet. And thanks to everyone who's stuck around and is continuing to stay excited for 22 and put those orders in for the new model year. So we appreciate your patience.
For sure.
Definitely. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All righty.
And then there were 4.
Yeah. So where does this leave us? I mean, obviously there were some things. It's easy to lose sight of. Like, I remember when I first went into Build and Price last fall and tried to build out a Badlands 4-door with Sasquatch and wasn't able to get a roof rack and started thinking about, hey, I've got to take a family camping. You know, I need those back seats and I really need that roof rack. And there were changes there, obviously, but it's easy to lose sight of the fact that there have been steps forward when we're still getting unhappy about some of these other. Like, I can't get a 2.7 with the Badlands with Sasquatch.
So,
but
people are still, I mean, guys, I get it on the allocation. Like, we've heard it. I'm sure Mitch has heard it. We see it every day on social media, on YouTube, DMs, you name it. I'm, we're not trying to gaslight what you when we say the formula is over our heads. Like, I mentally cannot comprehend the formula. I've never even seen it. I don't know what goes into it, and you probably don't want me explaining it.
There's going to be
we're not trying to just say, we're not trying to communicate a lack of transparency here. It's just when you have thousands of dealers across the nation that are, as Mitch said earlier, independent businesses from Ford, their franchises, there's large dealers, there's small dealers, there's a whole, then you chuck in 125,000 orders, reservations, whatever. It gets complicated. It gets messy. You add in commodity constraints, and like, unfortunately, as much as we would love to have a simple boiled down answer for you guys, it just simply doesn't exist. So we get it. I'm sure Mitch hears it every day, all day. And I hear it from people, privately too. So we genuinely wish we could give you guys an answer, a clear cut answer on why person X is getting their Bronco before you, or vice versa. There's just, it is what it is to an extent.
And then adding to that is, what dealers do on their own between different promotions that they do, ending up with large allocations and all of that sort of stuff. Like, there are just so many variables in there. It makes a launch sure somewhere in there
on top of the already complicated launch.
Yeah,
I mean, there's no like misconceptions here that this has been like a smooth launch. We're not here advocating like this has been a perfect launch, so don't get us wrong with that.
But it was a vehicle that was always there to like maximize user customization, to make your Bronco your own, and that's just going to lead. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Mitch. But I mean, you've seen one or two Ford launches in your time.
Yeah. So what he's, I think he's calling me old. I'm not quite sure, but as a 21-year dealer, we've been at this location I'm sitting at for 21 years, and I've been a part of this for the 21 years. This is by far the biggest launch we've ever had. And we've said this in quite a few of our YouTube videos, shameless plug, Town & Country TV on YouTube. If you compare this to all the other Ford launches that they've had, the only thing I can think of that really came anywhere close, was the 2005 Ford Mustang, where they came out with the new retro styling, and the demand was crazy, but it kind of fizzled out after a little bit of time. The Ford GT supercar, but that was in extremely low quantities. You can't really compare that. I would argue that this is probably one of the most anticipated launches since the 64.5 Mustang. Y'all can probably roast me in the comments or in the chat if you want to, if you disagree. But when you have that level of demand, it's just naturally going to cause problems. And, I think, yes, I'm a Ford fanboy. I'll go ahead and tell you that. We're a Ford dealership. I don't work for Ford, so they can't really say choose what I say. But, all things considered, I think Ford's doing a pretty darn decent job at trying to get these vehicles out. It's just literally a perfect storm.
But it doesn't take away from the frustrations of folks. I know people who have already sold their car, and they're many. I know a guy who was running around on a bicycle for the past month, waiting to get his Bronco delivered. Luckily, it is going to be coming here really soon for him. But there are lots of people who have leases coming up and all those sorts of things.
That's true too.
And it's not just Ford. Like, I've been carless for 3 months now.
Yeah, try getting a Tacoma right now.
Yeah,
everybody. I know a guy.
Yeah, everybody's
a guy.
having issues. So, and again, that's not to lessen or to discredit your frustration. We all know you're frustrated. We hear it from all of you every single day, and it's justified. You're totally justified in that. But they're not, on vacation, just being like, it'll get fixed. They're actively working to make it get better and trying to do it. But the wheels have to keep turning. The earth is going to keep rotating, and Ford is a massive, massive company. So,
Laura, are you still looking to get one though?
Me? Yeah, of course. The Jeep won't last forever. It's rusting out in the parking lot as we speak. No, but it goes back to communication, and it goes back to, again, people just want to know when they'll get it. I think if people had, again, a date that they know, and that has definitely, I would say, in my mind, it's definitely become more clear. We know more about commodities. We know more about what's holding things up. We have ways out. And I know that's another whole can of worms, that we don't want to remove things from our build. And it goes back to like, do you want it now or do you want it the way you want it? But again, we're just trying to get as many answers as we can in the time we can get them from as consumers. And I think that's still just another frustration point that many of you have, is just you want to know when you'll get it. Because if you knew for sure, you had to wait till MY23 or something awful.
Well, and there is a comment here saying that the difference is you can order from any other auto manufacturer and get an estimated date. That's not true. I'm literally going through this process now, and I have friends who ordered cars back in May that said they would be delivered in June, and it's moved once a month, every month, and they still, are now pushed into 22. Mercedes is not sending a single V8 to the United States for 2022 outside of the S-Class. C63s, E63s, like, you go into a Land Rover dealership, try to order a Defender, you're looking at 23. So it's, we get it's frustrating, but this is industry wide. There's a reason there's hundreds of cargo ships sitting off the coast of California that cannot get into ports. We deal with it with every industry outside of cars. So again, we're not trying to gaslight you guys, but at the same time, like everybody is having this issue, from Tesla to Ford and everybody in between. So.
Absolutely. And to speak on that as well, it's not, even if you consider pre-COVID or pre the Bronco, I mean, you talk about 3 and 4 years ago, if you ordered a normal F-150, it was commonplace for a scheduled production date to change multiple times. So that's just a part of manufacturing. As Jordan, as you said, is you have an ebb and a flow with parts, and you might get more of one part this week and then not as many the next week. And that causes some dates to change. But anyways, that's,
I mean, it's going to be fascinating to see, like, in years going forward, how just-in-time manufacturing and the automotive industry, like, change their relationship a little bit. Like, there are companies that have been known for that. I mean, Toyota said that they're going to start stockpiling parts. And like, they pioneered the whole just-in-time thing. So it's sea changes that are they're just getting weird. What were you going to say, Laura?
I was just going to say we had a couple more questions come in while we were doing the chat with Esteban and Tim, and I knew that they left. But Mitch, do you know anything more about priority code 15?
15? I do not know. My understanding, I'm going to go ahead and preface this with, I might be completely wrong, but this is my understanding. My understanding is that on a normal vehicle outside of Bronco, an F-150, an Escape, anything other than Bronco, the priority code really matters. Meaning that when I let's say I want to order 100 F-150s for stock units, that if I give one priority code a priority code 10, and then I give another one priority code 11, they're going to build them in that order. They're going to try and build this one, then they're going to try and build the next one. And that's basically, the lower the number, the higher priority, and then the sooner Ford will build it. My understanding is on Bronco, it's completely different, that what supersedes that priority code is realistically the reservation timestamp. And so that basically you either have a 99 or you have anywhere from a 10 to a 19. give or take. And my understanding might be completely wrong, but my understanding is that whether you're 10 or 19 or anything in between, doesn't really matter. But I might be completely wrong.
Okay, thanks for answering that, though.
And if you guys have any more questions for us, like leave them in the super chat. I'm reading them off to my left here. So if you have anything, let us know. Mm-hmm. Again, somebody else said, we're saying that waiting for a vehicle for 3 years is totally reasonable. We're not saying that, but it's a brand new vehicle. Like they have not made the Bronco in over 2 decades. So it's not like Jeep where they've been making Rubicons, for the 20 plus years. This is a brand new vehicle. If you went and ordered a Rivian, for example, 4 years ago, you still don't have yours because it's a brand new vehicle. So
yeah, and
that's
like
how product launches go.
It's not reasonable, but the last year hasn't been reasonable.
No,
there's nothing reasonable about the past 18 months. Like, and like I said, I totally get it. Like I still don't have a Bronco, and like I don't have a date for when I might ever have one either. And there's things that we're happening about for 22, and there's things we're not happy about for 22.
We're not over here driving our Broncos.
All I can do is keep hoping.
Like,
all we can do is keep hoping, because like I still love Bronco, and I still think that's cool, and one of these days. But
yeah,
one thing I did want us to go through as the group that's on the call, because I'm super interested in everyone's thoughts on this, is what are we happy about in 22, and what are we not happy about in 22? I got a list.
Go for it, David.
Why don't you start?
No, someone else start.
I'll kick us off.
Well, let's talk about first, like what are we happy about in 22 with 22 Bronco? Jordan.
I personally am extremely excited to see Raptor. I know it's a cliche answer, but I think it's going to be dope. As you all know, we've been very fortunate to be in Bronco world for a while, and it's probably the most excited I've been for a new Bronco product outside of the Bronco launch back last year. So we're going to try and get some testing footage for you guys like we did last year when Bronco first came out last August. We're going to try and replicate that with the engineering team, if they'll be so gracious and let us. So we hope to get some of that for you guys. But I'm most excited about Bronco Raptor. And then secondly, obviously it's not confirmed and they wouldn't say anything, but Heritage. I'm super stoked for Heritage. I'm a big fan of...
I'm on a live video. Sorry about that, guys.
I'm a big fan of Gen 1 Broncos. My father has been collecting Gen 1 Broncos since I can remember. So I'm excited to see, I guess it's not 22, but beyond 22.
Whenever they come out with it, we're pretty sure something's in the works for Heritage.
If there's anything that's consistent, it's the inconsistency of timing on this program. So you never know. But I'm excited to see what Heritage looks like.
Where are you at, Zelensky?
The Raptor going to be 4-door edition only? That's a great question.
It is a good question. I wouldn't.
I've only seen.
I can't prognosticate on that, but
I've only seen 4-door test mules. I have not seen a 2-door test mule, and this is not like my behind the scenes look. This is what you see on the forums and 6G and out driving around in Dearborn. So if I was a betting man, I would say yes, but you never know. They could surprise us.
Yeah. So what about you, Zelensky? What are you up to? What are you excited about model year 22?
I wish you would have started what we didn't like first. Now
we'll get to it.
Can we sandwich that at the end? No, I'm excited. Just having gone to some of the off-roading events lately, seeing more customers have 21s and getting to use them 100% and building them out. Yeah, they are out there. They're out there. I mean, okay, we're in Detroit, so we're blessed to see them roaming around everywhere. But
in Atlanta, I saw like 5 this week.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Slowly but surely.
To see more of that, and that's where the community really shines, is when we're out there in the dirt having fun with our vehicles. And yeah, I know a lot of us are waiting, but even if you can just hop in with someone who has one, Really enjoyable to get out there, and it does remind you what you were waiting for. And seeing all the build stuff, like I love that too. That's where I started with off-roading stuff. Even before I was out there doing it, I was studying builds. I was looking in the forums, I was trying to figure out what I would do with my own Jeeps once I had the money. it was over a decade ago. And it's just exciting to see people starting to add stuff on. I mean, Mitch, you've got a great build.
We'll get to Mitch's Bronco here in a second.
Let's hear what Mitch is excited about.
Yeah. Mitch is the guy who's already been seen in quite the Bronco. What are you excited about in 22?
So that slide out tailgate is dope. I don't know who used that word earlier, but that tailgate is, it really makes me, because in Alabama we've got football.
Yeah, do y'all tailgate at that? I don't.
Yeah, well, just a little bit.
Mitch, we need to do an Iron Bowl Bronco Nation / Town and Country Ford tailgate.
Sign me up. I'll bring my Bronco.
It is in Auburn this year, so
yes, it is.
You guys are going to have to come with a plan.
Yeah. So you like the tailgate, Mitchell?
Let's stay focused on Bronco. So yes, the tailgate is awesome. The other thing that I really, really like, because I really hated in 2021, is the keyless entry keypad being Mick on the side of a beautiful body line. And I just felt like that having it not painted, or I just felt the execution had a little bit, I know we said we're going to talk about things we don't like, but this is something I don't like about the 21, is that it just looked like it was an afterthought, if that makes sense. And I think that going back and having it color coded will significantly increase the take rate of people putting that on their Bronco. So those are my two favorite things. The color is good. It's awesome. It's good and everything, but the tailgate and the keyless entry keypad.
War Eagle to the Auburn fans watching out there.
Gosh. Yeah. So,
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get him started.
So for 22, like, not to be a nerd, but like being able to get a Sasquatch with roof rack, even though there are still some limitations that are out there. Like when we went out to Colorado this past month, we did a little camping trip after Supercell West, and beyond two people, like it's hard to put all the stuff in there that you want for comfortably camping. I know some of y'all are backpackers out there, and you're gonna be like, "Oh, I need for camping, I can fit in a backpack." But I like to be a little more comfortable. I'm sorry. And so like being able to fit a Gazelle tent plus cooler or refrigerator plus, camp chairs and whatever it is that you're bringing along. Yeah. Having a roof rack, being able to get a roof rack while still having the clearance of Sasquatch for the trail. I'm excited about that. But there are some things that we're not excited about, like not being able to get a Badlands Sasquatch with a roof rack and a 2.7 liter engine, or cargo area cover in a 2.7 liter Sasquatch Badlands.
Does it come down to weight, David? Was that a weight thing?
Yeah. I mean, Ford's been super careful with Badlands and its weight, and obviously it's a very capable trim. It's got a lot of awesome stuff that's already been added to it. So I can understand some of that. And like for the area cover, like you can get that through the dealer channel, as we all just learned. You can order it later, but there's still some little things like that are around, are a little silly. In addition to the Sasquatch price increase for 22 was a little bit of a hit in the gut there, unfortunately. So not happy about that. But other things, Bronco started from an awesome point. Like if I was going to another manufacturer, like there'd be several of these options that just aren't there. 35s from the factory. I mean, Jeep's starting to do it, but you got to go all the way up to a Rubicon to get that. There, all sorts of front and rear lockers from the factory. Jeep does that, but there are other manufacturers that have awesome vehicles that I really wish came with that, but they don't. So Bronco's starting at a great place, and it's these quibbles that we have that just keep getting in. But what are you not excited about, Jordan?
The elimination of Rapid Red and Antimatter Blue. Yes. More notably, Rapid Red.
Rapid Red does look good. Sorry, Rapid Red Nation.
It's a beautiful color. I mean, when we photographed it out at King of Hammers, those were some of my, my favorite pictures I've ever taken. I'm also disappointed to see no interior updates. I know, myself personally and a lot of the community isn't totally aligned with all the color combinations on the inside of the vehicle and accent colors. So I would have loved to see with the exterior updates to Wildtrak, maybe some alternative options on interior. But I assume we're going to have to wait for mid-cycle refresh on that. So that's a bummer. I really like the gloss black mirror caps on Wildtrak, so I'm sad to see those go. The Mick handles I'm indifferent about. It's probably it. I know the floor mat option price thing that people are mad about. I personally am indifferent on that, but I understand the pain points. So
I want to see more on these enhanced floor mats.
Yeah.
My biggest single surprise in the order guide was enhanced floor mats.
I don't know how much enhancing you can do to a floor mat, but building a Navigator or a Bronco, which one?
You step on it every time you get in the Bronco.
Yeah,
it's more important than you think. What about you, Laura?
Floor mat?
Oh, you know me. I'm both the Zen person on the team and the mushy gushy one. So it goes back to I will just accept any change that happens as it happens because that's how it goes. But at the same time, I really feel for everybody that it affects. So you will always see me in the comments and writing the articles along the lines of just trying to be compassionate to a lot of you guys who lost things that you loved, like Jordan mentioned, like David mentioned, or things that you can't get yet. So I don't have a specific to MY22 where I'm like, oh man, I wish I had this or that or whatever. It just makes me feel emotion for you guys who are in a place where you're not getting what you want, you're not getting it when you want. And that's what bothers me the most.
Yeah, very true.
Because you miss, there could be more people next year at Supercell West. If all this stuff was sorted out, there could be more people. You could see more Broncos while you're rolling down the trail, and given whatever wave ends up being the Bronco wave, as you go by.
For okay, we're so excited for this person. This community member picked up their Bronco today, and then we hear from another community member who had something sold out from underneath them, or just some horrible story. So it's just how do you balance what everyone's feeling, and it's hard. But we'll make sure that we're getting to that point.
And there were people that
get their Broncos.
And we've heard from hundreds of people hey, I had, plans for XYZ, or I was going to surprise, my wife or my husband or whatever, for their birthday or anniversary, whatever it may be. So, to Laura's made a great point on that, it does suck. And as people who are in the community and, see this all day on all platforms, it makes us sad because we wish we could just drop Broncos on everybody, but we can't. So, but that's been a cool part of this experience, is to seeing, even if you don't have one, supporting other people who get one or vice versa, or sharing it. Hey, we'll let you borrow mine for a day, has been a diamond among the rough. We'll say it that way.
What about you, Mitch? What came to model year 22
that you weren't excited
answer? About?
do you want the unfiltered answer, or do you want
always, Mitch?
Answer?
Always.
All right, I'm going to give you the unfiltered. So I felt like Ford could have done a little bit more to provide maybe a high volume heritage model, or something. I felt like there could have been a little bit more done to say, hey, I'm sorry you couldn't get a 2021. So as a way to thank you, here is something really cool that has a lot of people saying, man, I'm actually kind of glad now that I didn't get a 21. I don't know exactly what that could be. I was actually thinking and hoping that it would have been a heritage model, just maybe a high volume. When I first saw the new green color, I thought that might have been the start of that. Maybe going with like a retro badging, or just maybe something a little bit different that you just cannot get on a 21. The tailgate's cool. The things that I said that I liked, that is, but I just don't feel like that was quite enough, if that makes sense.
And we still don't know. Like there could be more that's coming. There could be more special editions. It's possible. Obviously, two limited special editions coming out next year might be the extent of it, but we don't really know that. But
that's right, because I don't have that insider information. I don't work for Ford, and as we mentioned earlier, dealers are independent franchises, and they don't let us in on the secrets.
Yeah, but even though we've got some things that frustrate us for model year 22, there is some exciting stuff coming up. So let's talk about that for a little bit, starting with SEMA. So if you don't know, SEMA, if for some reason you're in this stream and you don't know about SEMA, which
that's okay. That is okay.
It's fine. We're going to talk about it. SEMA is coming up, and SEMA is a massive auto show particularly for aftermarket automotive manufacturers. TC Customs, you've heard of SEMA.
Yes, we have.
Do you like going to SEMA?
We do. So we went the first time in 2019. Oh yeah, I'll be there. In fact, it's funny that you say that. I got my badges today, so I got them in the mail today.
Cool. Yeah, but like this year at that show, it's a massive show in Las Vegas. There is going to be all sorts of Bronco stuff. I mean, really cool Bronco builds, aftermarket manufacturers releasing all sorts of accessories for Bronco. Everything I'm seeing is that Bronco is going to be massive at SEMA this year. And you're going to start seeing some really cool stuff that you can't wait to add to the Bronco that you might get one day. So, Bronco Nation is going to be there. We are going to be providing coverage of SEMA. Jordan and Laura are going to be on site, checking out all of that new Bronco stuff and getting it out to our different channels. So pay attention to Bronco Nation Instagram, Bronco Nation website, Bronco Nation. I don't know. Are we doing anything on TikTok, Jordan?
Yes, always. Not always, but.
So we'll be over there too, in addition to Twitter and Facebook or whatever platforms we've added recently.
Couple more things I'm going to throw in, David.
Yeah.
From the chat. Mitch wants to let you know they did all get hammocks for 21 model year. The little hang in there hammocks. So they're very focused on hammocks right now. You know, those hammocks. The chat is blowing up about hammocks. And then secondly, someone asked to compare and contrast the various floor mat options. We haven't seen them. So I can tell you about the floor mat that comes in the Bronco right now, and it's just your standard floor mat. The enhanced floor mat, not a clue. So just didn't want to ignore you guys in there. We'll see. We'll see. Mitch will probably make a video. Are the enhanced floor mats worth $160?
We've got some of the most craziest and different videos on YouTube. That's for sure. We go over the crazy stuff.
Concur.
So SEMA's coming up. Yeah,
That's asking.
Yeah, and then once we roll past SEMA, then we get into the actual model year for 22. Seeing what else Ford has to show there, and then almost more exciting to see what the community has to show. For Bronco content, for Bronco that's going to be for Bronco builds that are going to be out there. I'm sure TC Customs won't stop at just one.
Nope.
There'll be a few more. Out there.
A fun fact: we actually just got through customizing a base model 4-door soft top. Put a lift kit, wheels, tires, 35s on it, and we're actually giving that thing away, believe it or not. So
that's the one I saw.
We're actually announcing. Yes, we're going to clean it before we give it away, though. I mean, don't. So that is actually a very, very fun video that we took my personal Bronco in this Bronco that we're giving away. We took it off-roading, and basically just to see how far you could take a stock base model with literally no options. See how far you can take it. And then now that we just got through customizing it, we're going to do that same video again to see how much further it can get. Kind of an unscientific redneck experiment to see what you can do in taking it off. taking it off road. And that kind of brings up another thing. I want to go back to SEMA for a second. We kind of joked around that I've got my Bronco already. And the reason is because I made a lot of different sacrifices on options because I wanted to get it early. I was a minute one, day one reservation holder for myself personally. And then I just literally dropped every option that I thought might delay me. But I bring all of that up to say that it's going to be interesting to see exactly what people do to their Broncos, and specifically with SEMA. You know, you brought up SEMA just a second ago. I truly believe you're going to find a lot of different aftermarket manufacturers that might make a really good hardtop solution. So I'm actually, encouraging everybody that I possibly can to, if you think you can live without a hardtop, go with that soft top.
Yeah.
I did, and I thought I was going to have to get an aftermarket hardtop, and I absolutely love the soft top. Now I don't even know if I'm going to get a hardtop anymore. Anyways, didn't mean I'll go off on a rant there. I apologize.
Yeah. Hard top options would be really awesome to see there. Personally, again, I harp on roof racks constantly. I would love to see an aftermarket roof rack option that you can add to some of these Broncos that you can't get from the factory with it. So.
And I think one more thing to throw in here, I'll get off my soapbox, but as you know, there was a lot of negativity surrounding this, and as much as we might joke or make light of or talk about, seriously or unseriously, the delays and stuff, Ford is working very hard to overcome them. We get to see it, and Esteban and Tim were, for the second or third time now, willing to come on and talk to you guys and take, your questions from the chat. So they are working as hard as they can. We know these people and we see these people, and they are putting blood, sweat, and tears into getting this program right and making sure it's successful and getting you guys your cars as soon as possible. You're not going to see many other OEMs sending their product teams out to speak to people like us, on a Wednesday night, taking time out of their night. So make sure you recognize that and appreciate that. It's incredibly gracious of them to offer their time and knowledge and insider info to us here at BN. And we're, don't want to lose that. We are extremely appreciative and fortunate to be in a position to talk to those guys. So stay patient, we're coming, hang in there. But there is light at the end of the tunnel.
And hope from what we've seen, being out on the trails with them a little bit, it's definitely worth it. Super, super cool vehicle. So I think we're going to need to go ahead and cut it off there. We got folks that have got to, get on with their nights here. But thank you all so much for being a part of this. Thank you so much to the guys who were on screen. Like Jordan said, thank you so much to Esteban and Tim for coming on. And for you, the viewers who are sticking with us, who came back to see this show, thank you so much. And we look forward to the next one.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Have a good night, everybody. Take care.
Peace. We'll see ya.